Okay, there goes. There it is, 12-0 in favor of death after just a few hours of deliberation. Demorris Hunter will be heading to Florida's death row. He was serving 110 years in the state of California, but he will likely be moved to the state of Florida because of this decision by this jury. Michael Jaafar is watching along with us. He's basically a serial killer, and before the sentencing portion of this trial, the jury didn't know that. But during this period of time, they get the information. He's been convicted of 3 murders in California, now 1 in Florida. That's a huge difference if you're making this decision.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what's so macabre about this, Ted, is they did not know about his past, and they still came in unanimously 12-0. Just think about a juror, right? You're just Joe, neighbor from down the street. You woke up one day, you opened up your mail, you got a jury summons, and I got to go to jury duty. Maybe I'm going to be dealing with some sort of a landlord-tenant issue, some sort of a personal injury case. No, you're dealing with a criminal case. What kind of criminal case? Well, a murder case, a capital case. Okay, now you have to decide whether or not this person is going to be sentenced to death. I think the number of people in our society who can say, I voted for death, is 1/1,000,000% of our society. It's very, very low. I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody who's ever been on a jury where they voted for death. And I know, thousands of jurors. So at the end of the day, this was macabre. This was crazy, but I think I'm pretty confident the jury got to the right decision based on the aggravating circumstances, the fact that the woman was vulnerable, the fact that the background that behind the robbery, the crime, and just the amount of time that went by. So I think they got to the right decision.
Yeah. He's now likely he'll go to Florida because he's now on Florida's death row. The defense could have argued keep him in California if he was convicted but not sentenced to death. Correct?
Yes, 100%. But now they will extradite him to Florida, and this is a little bit of a tricky area of the law. They will extradite him to Florida, and he's got decades of appeals ahead of him. I think we will see this man, unfortunately, for a long time to come. He's not the youngest guy in the world, but he's not an elderly person. The chances of him eventually being put to death in his natural lifetime are still low, but that whole legal maneuvering has to take place at this point.
Yeah, he's 58. Florida was not. Texas is where you don't want to be on death row for sure, but Florida's right there. Let's get a break. The breaking news is that 12-0, Demorris Hunter. All right, let's get a break. But first, Michael Jaafar. Talk about drama. He got mother at the defense table and daughter on the witness stand. How's she doing?
I mean, so far she's doing good. She's not wearing the jumpsuit, so that's always positive for the state. It's funny how the state is always able to get their witnesses to not wear jumpsuits on the stand, but when you're the defense table, they're wearing a jumpsuit. But she's doing good. At the end of the day, I'm wondering, is this a Greek tragedy or a Shakespearean tragedy? I'm thinking this is more like in the Greek tragedy family because this is very, very, very tense. If you were sitting in that courtroom, the tension would be palpable. It's very awkward just to see on camera.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine your daughter on the witness stand testifying against you after you both were in cahoots? And she has this great deal. She's going to do, a couple more years, and then boom, she's got a great life ahead of her, and you're just taking it. Now, if it's your kid, I guess as you're a parent, you're like, all right, I'll take it. I'll serve the life sentence so you can have a life. But how disgusting. I mean, this is the Adelsons of Utah. They're just horrible people.
If you get a bunch of attorneys in a room and you ask them, you let their guards down, you say, hey, when you have clients who have either assets or children and they're having tension and they want to get a divorce, do they come up with rational ideas when they call you as their attorney? And every attorney would just roll their eyes and say, no, we've heard everything under the sun, every scheme that a client thinks they can get away with to have their children get out of a marriage. I just tell people, just stop, just leave, just walk out of the marriage. Stop coming up with these dumb ideas. And if true, what they're saying that her and her brother and her mom conspired to do, and the knife being in the non-dominant hand, and all these harebrained schemes to get out of a marriage as opposed to just simply getting a divorce and splitting custody of the kids, it's insane. Obviously, all these people thought they were too smart, but here they are in this situation in a courtroom testifying against one another.
Yeah, and the two smart ones you could argue are the ones in this courtroom now. The dummy was brother Kevin, who just pulled the trigger because his mom and sister told him to, and now he's serving a life sentence. It's just for what? So she could be free of him, didn't have to live in California. We'll get a break. That's the allegation.